We can put our agriculture, we can get it from places where they can more efficiently produce these goods. The market price of water should determine.
And that is it, sir.
Hey everybody, Marc Victor here. I wanted to cut a short video because, as you may have noticed if you watched the debate, I didn't really get time to explain my position on the water issue here in Arizona. But no problem. Because of the miracles of technology, we can use this opportunity here on the internet for me to just fill in a little bit more about my thoughts on what to do about the water crisis here in Arizona. And as I started to say in the debate, I think that there are different short-term and long-term solutions to this problem. Regarding the short-term, I mentioned that it's estimated between 72 and 80% of all water usage here in Arizona is used for agriculture. Agriculture. Okay, this is pigs, chickens, turkeys, cows, to raise meat, right? And also lots of crops. And I certainly understand that there are farmers who make their living off of this. They've got contracts. They've been promised water to make this happen. This is why we need to transition, okay? We should maintain and keep all of the promises that the government has entered into. But at the same time, we got to get to a market price of water. How do we do that? We need to get the government out of the business. How can we do that? Well, there are other places that are more economically efficient to raise and generate the various agricultural needs, right? Imagine other parts in the country where it rains more and water is more plentiful. These might be better places to grow certain crops, to raise cows, pigs, chickens, turkeys, whatever, and we can bring them here to Arizona, no problem, for the cost of transporting them. This isn't a major issue here. I know it's not good for the people who are using a huge amount, that 80% of water here in Arizona. But if we got to a market price of water, my guess is probably those farmers are going to say, you know what, the price of the water right now doesn't make sense for me to raise the cows and chickens here. Let's instead, maybe they'll buy a farm in a different part of the country or something. But in the middle of the desert, to be raising cows probably doesn't make sense. If we can get that done, there's 80% of our water back for human consumption. Problem solved short term. But long term, why on earth? It's 2022. Why on earth are we still worried about water, right? We put people on the moon. We have incredible technology, and we're worried about water. This is totally unacceptable. We can do so much better. Why are we doing so poorly? Because the government's running the water business, right? We should get the government out of the water business. Now, you might think, oh my God, what would happen? Don't worry. The private sector does lots of things. They handle food, right? Food's kind of important. I can get lobsters from Maine alive here in the middle of the desert anytime I want by using the private sector. They don't just do food, which we can get from virtually anywhere in the world, nice and fresh. The hot stuff's still hot, the cold stuff's still cold. No problem here in the desert. The private sector, for profit, they do that. We also get gas from the private sector. Not like Mexico where the government is running the gas, but here in the United States where private, for-profit companies are running the gas. Also clothing, right? We get that from anywhere. Private sector delivers that. Cell phones, cars. These things aren't made in Arizona. Well, maybe some of the new electric vehicles are, the Lucid. But other than that, they come from other places, right? We can't bring water. This is crazy. Imagine if the federal government ran these various things I just talked about. It would be a disaster. Water's a commodity, like all of the other things I just talked about. Let's unleash the private sector. This isn't just an Arizona problem, by the way. 1/5 of the world has a water problem, and it's likely to worsen. We got to get real solutions. I've noticed that the Earth, 71% of it is covered by water, and 97% of that is the ocean. We got plenty of water. We got more water than we know what to do with. Time to solve this problem.
The future is desalination plants powered by nuclear reactors and pipelines.
Blake made some very good points on this issue, and I'm going to give him credit. We got short-term and long-term solutions. I'm here to tell you about hard questions.
Now, to be fair, I gave credit to Blake Masters during the debate because he made the very same point. And I'm going to give credit where credit is due. He was right here. We already know how to convert salt water to fresh water. It takes a lot of energy, right? nuclear power is the solution, right? This is the power we're going to get long term. Look, we can still develop solar power, wind power, but if we got to get long-term power that's clean and steady and reliable, the future is nuclear power. We have Generation 4 nuclear reactors right now. They're safe, they're clean, they're reliable, they're efficient. And one thing that's really fantastic about the Generation 4 nuclear reactors is they can consume up to 90% of the nuclear waste that's been generated by all the earlier reactors. Yeah, we could take that waste that we currently don't know what to do with and give it to the Generation 4 nuclear reactor and use that reactor to use up that waste and generate lots more clean power. So anyways, nuclear power is our solution. Let's just let the private sector deliver water like everything else. Let's get it out of the ocean, let's clean it up, let's turn it into fresh water, and then let's move it from the ocean to the desert. We do that right now with all kinds of other commodities. It's not that hard. The problem now is the government is running it, and we need to get the government out of it. The government is not the most efficient provider of any good or any service. Why would water be any different? We can solve these problems. Let's solve them like we solve all the other problems. Let the private sector do its thing in a free market. That's how you move around goods and services most efficiently.